Concerned what it hit for, cause I've still come to raise hell like Mephisto. Please don't front, cause I'll karate chop your lymph node. Noodle arm punk you punch and end up with your wrist.
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries, and welcome to another edition of Women in Wrestling Not Quite Getting Right. So we got a slew of entries this week. We got Melina, who feels like she's not respected by the younger wrestlers. We've got Maria, who has to pitch her opinion about Triple H. Then we got Mickie James being upset about WWE Evolution and why it was set up to fail. And then, I'm guessing, hopefully this is the last one, we got Alexa Bliss. No, we got 5, I think. Alexa Bliss gets, quote, body shamed on social media. And Naomi, which is the main event, Naomi deletes her Twitter account because a fan said she was responsible for Jey Uso getting drunk. Oh, boy. Anyway, let's start with whichever page I find first. Okay. This one is Mickie James. Mickie James feels that the WWE Evolution pay-per-view was almost set up to fail. She did an interview with, I believe it was Wrestling Inc. She says, I thought we had made a monumental stride by announcing Evolution. We all thought it was the start of something really, really cool. It was only really promoted for a month. The matches weren't even announced but a week or two before. There was zero promotion or marketing. It was almost set up to fail. If there was as much energy and focus put into it as perhaps some of the other events and made and highlighted how monumental this actually is, perhaps that wouldn't be true. And maybe I think it was, the lack of success of the event. All right, maybe, but there ain't no guarantees. To be quite honest, I don't think you could have, how much longer are you supposed to be promoting this event? They brought in people for this event. They brought in like Trish Stratus and Lita, and they brought in, it was NXT and SmackDown and Raw all on the same brand, all on the same show. They did, I don't remember the marketing and promotion for it, but I don't remember it being less than, well, probably significantly less than probably Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, or SummerSlam. So it's probably far less than that. But what other marketing and promotion could that have possibly been? And I think that that's just one excuse among many excuses why Evolution didn't work. I don't think it, how much. But what she also says is maybe we should have put some focus on how monumental it was. But I think that's all we've heard before and how much we've heard since. I think even Ronda Rousey was on that show. So they had the talent that was on the show. And it was a flop. It's okay to just say, look, maybe the first one doesn't do well, but maybe the second one would do better than the first. I think that's really the argument you have to make. Is sometimes you do something and it's a novel concept and people are kind of like, I don't know if I like that. And then you do it two times, you do it 3 times, and people are like, oh, okay, well, maybe I do kind of like these shows. Or maybe the second show is better than the first one because you find a new recipe that actually works. People do that shit all the time. I don't think you should really judge a thing by the one and only time it happened. I think not women's wrestling, of course, because that happens literally all the time, but a WWE-led women's only event. It has only happened one time. So all we have as a frame of reference is that one show. But that one show had pretty much every female wrestling star of the last 20 some odd years on it, with the exception of a few here and there. But it wasn't like any major missing pieces from that show, and except China, and China is dead, so when you think about who was on that show, Becky Lynch was on the show, Charlotte was on the show, Sasha Banks was on the show, Trish Stratus was on the show. If you cared about women's wrestling, especially WWE women's wrestling, they were on that show. And there was even some younger women on the show. It was the best they could do at the time. If they were to do an Evolution 2, would it be better than Evolution 1? Probably. I think they would probably have to focus on some of the younger girls this time and not really rely so much on like Trish Stratus and Lita and Mickey James in order to, get that attention, get that bump. But I wouldn't blame the marketing and the promotion. I would blame people's interests in women's wrestling. Hell, Ronda Rousey was on that show. I don't know what more you could do. All right, let's go to Melina. Melina did an interview with metro.co.uk. And she's saying that she doesn't really get the respect from other women. At least that's what I got from this gobbledygook. Let's see if you can make out something better. What the women now do not realize, as much as they're going to bash me for, oh, you're too old, you're this, you're that. Some girls are like, no, we praise you. And others are like, what is she still doing around? I'm like, okay, you remember that when you have today, it's because of the women like me, the women of the best. And you remember that you're going to, hold on. And you remember that how you're treating me now is the way you're going to be treated in your future. So what I'm fighting for now is because there needs to be someone representing. Respect the people who get in the ring with you, regardless of their gender, age, or anything. Have respect, because I'm fighting for your future. Because some of us love this business so much that as much as we want to walk away from it, we don't. That doesn't mean you don't have a purpose in the business, in this career. You still have a place in it. You will forever have a place in it, and I will fight for that until the end of my time. I do not know. I am lost. I need I need spark notes for this shit. All right, this is not going to work for me, dog. I think the long and the short of it is she's feeling disrespected by some young women, and they're kind of like questioning what she's still doing, hanging around. Melina isn't like the oldest woman in the world. I don't know how old she is, but she's not like, Mae Young or anything. And people didn't have a problem with them being around. They were in their 70s at the time. I just think that Melina is limited. She has not been very good lately. I've heard that she's been working injured. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But I think looking at Melina, she's just not doing very good. And it's visible that she's just kind of hanging around as a personality and not as an actual wrestler. And that's fine too. Everybody can women always have that option of transitioning to valetship. Not every wrestler can, become a manager, but just about any woman can become a valet. And Melina was a good valet in her day, as Eminem. That was a great thing. And she was a decent wrestler, She was one of the few in the women's division, the Divas division, that could have an acceptable match. And her and Beth Phoenix had some pretty good ones at the time. But if she feels like, she's not getting her proper respect, that's so sad to hear. I wonder where that was. And that's sad, I feel sad for Melina. I'm sorry to hear that, Melina. So let's talk about Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss, I'm guessing she got into it on social media with somebody, which she always does. Let's see. Alexa Bliss calls out fan that attempts to body shame her. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. So this is from No DQ. Alexa Bliss. Somebody I guess he tweeted at her, remember last week when all of you Alexa Bliss and Mary Sue's said that this was just a blur effect and Alexa's ass was back. Well, take a look at NXT Bliss and WWE Bliss, and then at the edited shot, Alexa posted, and then the picture she posted today, and try to say that again. I'm guessing he's saying her ass is gone. Like she had a cute little butt, and now she doesn't have a butt anymore. Which, from he has visual evidence that her butt has changed. So, at least the man presented some evidence. He made an argument. He supported it with visual evidence. Alexa Bliss got very mad. Number one, this is what she tweeted. Number one, how fucking dare you try to body shame me? Number two, all pics except the last one are very old. Number three, I haven't been able to control my weight loss lately since being sick a few months ago. Number four, all you have to say about my career since 2013 is pics of my butt. I pity you. Peace and bless. Look, this is a guy, you know? I mean, I'm sure he's going to sit down and talk about your technical prowess, how much he enjoys your catch wrestling skills. I'm sure he's going to sit here and talk about your brilliant, uh, brilliant Brazilian jiu-jitsu. You know, how can they bypass all of that glory, all of those great strikes you throw, all that wonderful high flying you can do, and focus on pictures of your butt? How dare they? How fucking dare they? What a insane. What is this lady's problem? And this is a lady who, of course, takes thirst trap pictures, but that's what they all do. So, you know, calling them hypocrites don't really do much. You know, it doesn't really do us any favors, because of course they're hypocrites, but nobody cares. Like, it's a very low bar to just say you are not standing up to the values that you portray. It's kind of like, so what? Now what? Now what? I'm saying is, ain't much else to talk about. It's not like Alexa Bliss is one of the greatest female wrestlers of all time. Now, she's good. She got charisma. She can work a decent match. She can work enough for the style that she works, you know. She can get over what she's doing. But if we had to, like, strip away all of the WWE stuff of her being able to talk, and she just had to go in there and wrestle a 10-minute match, it would be a disaster. You know, she probably would be able to get something through psychologically, but it would be a disaster. And for starters, and then in addition to not being very well skilled in the ring, she's also injury prone. So we have all of that. We can't ignore any of that, baby. But she says that she was sick and she hasn't been able to control her weight loss. So she kind of explained why her butt went away. She's like, well, I got sick a couple of months ago, and, you know, now I can't control my weight anymore. But this is typical of women. You know, it's somebody else's fault, something's fault. Look, it's okay. She didn't have to acknowledge this. You know, that's the crazy thing about this is, you know, he didn't at her. And I don't think he tweeted at her either. I think he just made a tweet, and she probably was vanity searching her name and saw it and decided she was going to jump all over this. But let's be real here. I mean, you had a cute butt. Where did it go? And you explained it. You didn't have to. You could have just ignored the whole ordeal. But people, man, Jesus Christ, I can't believe she did. Alexa, stop it. Stop it. Stop doing these things. All right. Maria Kanellis. Oh, boy. If Triple H is honest, he knows that WWE isn't the place everyone wants to work. This is from, I believe she talked to Fightful. And let's see what Maria, who works for Ring of Honor, but, you know, is consistently talking about WWE. Her and Mickie James. They have talked about nothing but WWE since they left. Part of their promoting whatever it is they're doing, like Mickie James is to NWA as Maria is to Ring of Honor. So everything that they do, they're talking on one hand about, well, we have this fabulous women's tournament that we're about to do. On the other hand, here's all these things I have wrong with WWE. And then people kind of mention in passing what they were talking about. Like, oh yeah, Ring of Honor is going to have a women's tournament. But here's this long article about Maria talking about Triple H. But we're going to give like 2 sentences to her silly tournament that's going on TV, or on, not even on TV, on YouTube. So maybe it's smart because they get people to click the dirt sheets, or maybe it's dumb and it's making people think that they're not actually doing anything and that their job is to bitch about WWE from the outside. Who knows? But let's see what Maria has to say. He says, I think, of course, someone has to say something like that. He has to say that everybody wants to work in WWE because that is where he works and that's what's required. But I think if he were honest with himself, he would realize that they aren't the only place to work anymore. And for a lot of people, they're not even the place they want to work. I've heard a lot of women comment to me, I have a couple within Ring of Honor right now that are under contract with us that were made offers by WWE that turned them down. So of course I'm not going to go on some tirade about that because I don't think it has any value. I think that women in general, we all have communications about how things are going, how much we're getting paid, how well we're treated. And so because of that community of women, the Women's Wrestling Coalition, as I like to call it, we have this underground network of boosting each other up. And women's wrestling matters, and women want to do a really good job with the wrestling part of women's wrestling. So I think anywhere could have the best wrestler in the world. It doesn't matter if it's going to be in Ring of Honor, AEW, Impact, WWE. It could be over in Japan or China or in the UK or anywhere in Europe. Any one of these places may have the best women's wrestlers in the world. It's just a matter of who that person is, not what company they work for. And I hope that over the next few months, we're able to see a couple of those women in Ring of Honor. But if not, it is something to work towards. I mean, I would love to get Thunder Rosa for our tournament because I think she's incredible. I would love to have Lufisto. I would love to have a few girls in Japan because there are great wrestlers everywhere and not all of them want to work for WWE. And after being there twice myself, I have to say that some of my most memorable moments in this industry had nothing to do with the big Stamford, Connecticut company. And it had everything to do with the people I was working with and the way that I felt working there. Take that, Triple H. Take that, Triple H. I mean, if you do again, these people they just sell, man. Like they sell everything. Like I remember when Thunder Rosa went on the net about this whole thing. You don't have to sell this. If you're in if you're in a situation where Triple H says some crazy stuff like everybody wants to work here, pal, and then everybody just started getting red faced and started screaming into the nearest microphone. I mean, what are you doing? You're not proving them wrong. You're not proving them wrong. In any event, I'm sure Maria getting fired from WWE twice, she's not thrilled about it. You know, she also had a hell of a time getting back in. So that was an interesting scenario because if you remember correctly, there was a story. Oh God, it was so long ago. It was basically after Maria got fired the first time. She was trying to get back into WWE. This was before she had kids and before she met Mike. And I think she had already met Mike. And she was trying to get back in WWE. And then she was posting these stories that there were people blocking her from getting rehired. I think she said the Bella Twins was like one of them. And so now she's been fired a second time. She got there. She was on the roster for 2 or 3 years. She didn't do anything. She got fired, and now she's like, oh, yeah, well, nobody wants to work there anyway. I just worked there twice and got big paychecks, but nobody else wants to work there. I know a bunch of people working in Ring of Honor that wouldn't want to main event WrestleMania or anything. Like, what? Man, come on. Come on. And people who always say, well, I was offered a contract by WWE and I turned it down. It's like, okay, so. So. It doesn't disprove his point because they already have an overloaded roster. For any one person who says no, there's 4 people who tried out and either didn't get called back. I think that whole thing is that whole ordeal where people say, I was offered a contract by WWE, but I turned it down. That's their way of getting, good boy points online. I've seen a bunch of guys do it. I've seen a bunch of people do it. WWE doesn't make statements about people that they offered contracts to and who turned them down. So the only thing you have is somebody says, hey, I was offered a contract. Nobody knows whether the contract was any good or not. It could have been a low ball. It could have been some developmental deal where you make, what was it? I think, Savers of Bonini was making $750 a week or something like that. And you probably figure, hey, with this and this and this, I can make a little bit more. It could have been some more deal like that. But I don't necessarily buy that the fame and the notoriety that goes with working for WWE, you don't want that. I just have a difficult time buying that. But I can buy that sometimes people do choose to work with their friends. And, if you're going to build this coalition of women's wrestlers or whatever, this whisper network, because there's a women do this, and I hate to get super sexist about this thing, but whenever there's a large group of women in a place, you get a gossip circle. They started calling it a whisper network. And every industry that has an abundance of women have the whisper network. What we saw with, I think there was, what was it, not too long ago when they was trying to do that silly TV show. It was Lita, Gail Kim, and Christy Hemme, right? And they were trying to do a TV show. And they tried to crowdfund it, but it didn't really work out. In any event, they were attempting to, monetize the whisper network. And that's all, women do that. It's not a surprise to anyone. It shouldn't be a big deal that they have this whisper network where basically they gossip about people and all this kind of stuff. And occasionally you'll get your whisper network stuff. It'll explode like the quote speaking out or time's up or me too and all that kind of shit where all these women have taken so much time to get their stories together and we're going to out this abuser and all this crap. It's like, yeah, who cares? But, I don't buy what Maria is selling. Maria works for Ring of Honor, so of course she's going to say that not everybody wants to work there. For the same reason Triple H is going to say that WWE has the best women in the world. The same reason Maria is going to say not everybody wants to work in WWE. Because she works somewhere else. But you don't need to even mention, this. Like, you don't have to sell for Triple H. I love how he made this comment and people are still talking about it. I love that. It's tremendous. But Maria needs to stop it. She constantly talks about WWE too. It's a huge problem. Big problem. All right, so the coup de grace for this week. Naomi deactivates her Twitter account after a fan makes a statement about Jimmy Uso. Now, this doesn't actually feature any words from Naomi because she really didn't say anything. She just deleted her account. But what happened? So July 10th, 2021, this is from NoDQ. WWE star Naomi, who is married to Jimmy Uso, deactivated her Twitter account on Saturday. A Twitter user at DeathRiderSZN, I guess that means season, sent out a tweet on July 6th, which blamed Naomi for Jimmy Uso's recent DUI arrest. The tweet ended up going viral with over 300 quote retweets. 300 is viral? Okay, I guess. The tweet ended up going viral with over 300 quote retweets of fans largely coming to Naomi's defense. So this guy, Death Rider Season, I blame Naomi for all of Jimmy's legal troubles. She had a bad influence on him. If he got rid of her, I doubt he's in this much trouble. Wow. And then 37 people liked it. Wow. So in response to that, Trinity Fatu, aka Naomi, deleted her Twitter account, which I'm sure she'll be back. People rage quit Twitter all the time. This, of course, led to a bunch of people, spreading love about Naomi on Twitter and how much they love Naomi and how wrestling fans are toxic and toxic man babies who hate everybody and all this stuff. It is goofy. It is goofy. It is dumb. So after the Twitterati came to her defense, I bowed out. I didn't do the video. I waited because I wanted to see what was going to happen, see if her account was going to return. I don't know if it did or not. Don't care. I am consistent with my opinions that people are responsible for their own behavior. I reject in totality the idea that Jimmy Uso should have any blame spread to anyone other than Jimmy Uso. Naomi is just his wife. She can do the best she can in trying to help him, but ultimately he is a fully grown man. He has to take care of himself. Now, a lot of these people who are acting an ass on Twitter, acting a straight up anus, as they are tripping out over Naomi, who they say is being targeted for abuse. That's what one person says. So I found out Naomi and Jimmy Uso are dealing with fan abuse. I may call Naomi an overrated, overglorified diva, but that's mostly on WWE's booking. Do not act abusive or toxic towards wrestlers. That's utterly wrong. Here's to hoping Naomi and Jimmy get support. What the fuck does Naomi get support for? She ain't the drunk one. He's the drunk one. Like, I notice how, a guy gets an addiction, which he probably has a problem. I mean, come on. Women most affected. Man on the, now I guess you could say there was no real danger of him losing his job. Some people will say that. I think that if he wasn't in the situation that he currently is in, where he's working with Roman and the Uso and Jay Uso, and this is a high profile story, he probably would have been dealt with in a more harsh way. But with everything they got going on, with them getting ready to go back on the road, and this big storyline with Roman Reigns, I don't think it has anything to do with The Rock. A lot of people say like, oh, well, it's they got this storyline that's got to involve The Rock. Otherwise, they would have done something to Jimmy. I'm like, well, I don't know that for sure. They didn't do anything to him before, but they didn't do anything to him before. But I think that they just kind of like going to let him handle his legal situations. And WWE take a very mature position on these things from what I see. And that is that they step back and they let whatever is going to occur naturally roll through. They don't knee-jerk release anybody, for bad behavior. They usually give people some type of grace period. Even when they fired Zelina Vega, she had a grace period. She had some time between when they said all the third-party stuff had to stop and then when she actually got fired. It wasn't like day of she got fired. It was some time given. There was some leeway given to other people. There seemed to be pretty lax and seemed to be pretty loose. And that laxness and that looseness when they dealing with other people, sometimes it comes across like they don't care. And that's really how fans take it. The Jimmy Snuka situation, right? People are like, he could have fired Jimmy Snuka because he killed that girl. I'm like, Jimmy Snuka was never convicted of a murder. Like, why would you fire the guy? He's never been convicted. He's been accused. Velveteen Dream was just accused. Matt Riddle was just accused. It wasn't like they actually, was proven in a court of law to do something. We have to understand, and I think Vince more than anybody, especially more than the average Joe, knows what it's like to be accused of a crime and to be railed in the media for it because he went through that whole steroid trial. And he's like, we're going to wait for us, actual evidence and actual things to occur. And sure, Jimmy got arrested for DUI. Maybe he's going to fight the case in court. And that's why they didn't do anything. That could be a good reason why they didn't, send him to rehab or release him or anything like that. Up to now. It could be that he's going to fight it in court. He fought the last one in court and won. He got arrested for DUI on video and beat the case. So maybe he's going to do the same thing here. And he's like, look, they got my face all in the media, but I didn't really do anything. I'm going to go to court. And WWE's kind of like, okay, we'll see what happens at court. But, I still think they should send him to rehab because he has quite a few alcohol-related incidents. But none of this has anything to do with Naomi. And fans who are like, blame the wife. It's like, she didn't do anything, man. This is only an L for Naomi because she was silly enough to delete her Twitter account over one fan making a comment. Not a deluge of fans. Now, it wasn't like 400 people decided they were going to. And it's not like anything bad happened to Jimmy. Jimmy got caught with a DUI. He got arrested. That wasn't good. That's not good. But it wasn't like he got fired. And then it was something that had something to do with Naomi. It had nothing to do with her. We don't even know if she was even present when he got arrested. So this sort of stuff it makes no sense. And she was being very sensitive in deleting her Twitter account because it wasn't even like a huge like pro wrestling account. Like out of all of the crazy stuff that pro wrestling journalists tweet out, like that guy who wrote that article that the wife of Brody Lee was lying about how he died. Like, if she would have deleted her Twitter account after that, that would have made sense. Because that would have been like, that's some absolutely offensive garbage. And I don't want anybody tweeting that or retweeting that at me. So I'm just going to take that off. But I guess she had heard so much about the whole Jimmy Uso thing that, you know, she sees it every time she goes on Twitter, is that her husband is a drunk and people are talking bad about him. And that's reason enough, I guess, to back away. But I can't support quitting Twitter over that. I just can't. Look, I can support quitting Twitter. Most people should quit Twitter. Hell, I should. But when you rage quit, like you slamming down the controller of a video game, that's an L. Because that's proving that you've been emotionally manipulated by weirdos online. And I can't let them. I can't support that. So we had a slew of women this week. It's probably going to be more next week. I did not expect this thing to last 3 or 4 weeks. I thought it was going to be a one-off deal. But they keep stepping in it. So Naomi deletes her Twitter account because of Jey Uso. Not really. It's only because she rage quit. If she hadn't rage quit Twitter, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. Alexa Bliss gets mad at a fan who says that her butt disappears. And she's like, I had a long career. Like, I'm a good wrestler. I've done good wrestling. Yeah, no, not really. Melina gets called old in the locker room. She's very offended, very upset. Sorry to hear that, Melina. But at least it's other women saying it and not guys. Because if it was guys, it'd be a whole big deal. And it'd probably be all over the social media if some guy said that Melina was too old to be wrestling. It'd be like, oh no, Melina's a perfect age to be a wrestler. She's the same age as, checks notes, AJ Styles and Bobby Lashley or whatever. Get out of here. Then you have Maria tapping out to Triple H because she has to, I don't know, can't keep herself under control. Mickie James, who is in promoting her women's event, kind of takes a pot shot at WWE's women's event, and so much more. This was always a fruitful engagement. I enjoy doing this. But thank you guys for listening. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys for your time. Donate to the channel via Cash App if you just want to buy me lunch. You know, you think you enjoy what I do. Or if you are a recurring fan of what I do, you can go to Subscribestar, which is in the link tree in the description, and sign up for $5 a month. Either way, even if you don't, even if you just hit the like button, that's fine too. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for your time, and I'll talk to you later. Peace. I can only be great.